Why are Americans so down on the economy when Joe Biden's own statisticians say he is doing an amazing job? Recently, the Wall Street Journal published a 3,000-word essay on that very question. That's 10 pages paperback. Note, the journal has been among Joe Biden's most loyal cheerleaders, so one might almost read this as an apology. They kick off noting that Americans are spending briskly. Inflation has come down from the Biden highs, although new numbers say it's rising again. And GDP just turned in a solid 3.1% for the year. Official unemployment has been below 4% for 24 straight months, the longest stretch since the 1960s. It is morning in America. And yet, in opinion surveys, Americans almost universally think Biden is doing a crap job, with just 1 in 7 Americans saying they're better off since Joe was installed. Indeed, Biden has the worst approval ratings for a third-year president in history. Suck on that, Jimmy Carter. The journal ventures some explanations, including that a college degree is no longer a golden ticket to the middle class, the endless wars, and the, quote, uninspiring leadership and a government, quote, widely seen as dysfunctional, the border and America's crime-ravaged urban hellholes being Exhibit A. Of course, they missed the big one, which is that maybe those numbers are fake. Not necessarily fake as in they made them up from thin air, although there's a fair amount of that lurking in things like seasonal adjustment or hedonic adjustment for inflation. No, more like fake as in the statistical series are cherry-picked to ignore the many elephants in Joe Biden's economy. So take unemployment. 4% is stellar until you recall that unemployment doesn't count people who have dropped out of the workforce. It only counts people actively looking for work. So all those fentanyl addicts sleeping on the streets of Philadelphia are statistically retired. They're not unemployed. Neither are the 6 million plus Americans who dropped out of the labor force since COVID, likely forever. Count them and you're close to 7% unemployment, which is actually pretty bad, comparable to the lead-in to 2008. It's similar with GDP, the other big economic number. That solid GDP is driven by federal deficits, buying growth, and soaring social spending, both of which are bankrupting us. They are not making us rich like GDP is supposed to. It's similar with consumer spending, fueled by soaring levels of personal debt, rampant doom spending, and now jumps in defaults. In short, Americans aren't spending because they're optimistic, they're spending to keep their head above water. And finally, the big one, inflation. I've mentioned in recent videos how the progress in inflation has entirely been one-offs from supply chains and energy, while underlying inflation kept marching almost twice the Fed's target and now rising. So sure, Americans are feeling down because they're led by a demented moron who starts wars in between drools while importing every welfare case who might vote Democratic. But it's more that the everything is fine narrative is built on lies, built on statistics that are very carefully crafted to hide, not to inform. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. It's progress for mainstream media to even consider the possibility that Americans might have a point when they say things are tough. Still, we've got a ways to go until media fully understands how much it has been gaslit by a regime that has given up on serving the people. Read the full article at profsaintange.com with charts and all. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.